Hello folks, welcome to Italy. My name's Steve Sutcliffe and this is the new Tyre Seeker Test Centre. So what we have here is a selection of the world's maybe not best, but just slightly down from best ultra high performance tyres. These are slightly cheaper than the premium brands.
From Avon, we're testing the ZV7. From Firestone, we've got the Firehawk Sport. From GT Radial, we're testing the Sport Active 2. From Hankook, we've got the Ventus S1 Evo 3. And from Yokohama, we're testing the Advan Sport Flavor V701. All our tyres come from an independent retailer to ensure total neutrality. And we're testing each tyre in the wet and dry for handling, braking, cornering, aquaplaning and pure speed around 2 different tracks. Our test car is a Mercedes A35 AMG with 302 horsepower and 4-wheel drive. And the Tyre Size we're testing is a 235/40 R18. For all our tests, the ambient temperature is between 25 and 28 degrees C. But before we get down to business, please do give us a thumbs up at the end of this vid if you like what you see here, and remember to subscribe to our channel if you want to see more of these vids in future. Right then, wet tracks first, let's work out who makes the best mid-range ultra high performance tyre.
Sounds slightly patronising, doesn't it? A mid-range ultra high performance tyre. How much performance do you lose compared with a premium ultra high performance tyre? Well, we've got 5 of the very best here. I spent 2 days assessing these tyres on a brilliant wet handling circuit in northern Italy, and there were very big differences between, certainly from the top to the bottom. I thought the Hankook around the wet handling track was blinding on this A35. Hugely more bite at the front. Not necessarily than the Firestones. The Firestones were very good, but not just as sharp as the Hankooks on the wet handling track. The GT Radials, excellent. Not quite as fast, not quite as kind of punchy. I didn't have just as much faith in the front end on the wet track with the GTs as I did with the Firestones or the Hankooks. But pretty good, you know, pretty good. And the Yokohamas are not bad. Not bad at all, but not brilliant. Mid-corner particularly, around that long, sweeping left-hander that goes out to the back straight. The Yokohamas struggled a bit to pick up as much grip as the Firestones or the Hankooks, or as much as the GTs. The one tyre I haven't mentioned yet, of course, is the Avon. And I'm afraid to say that the Avon made the A35 AMG feel pretty wild in the wet. Mid-corner, it almost felt like it wanted to aquaplane. There was just very little bite at the front end. Well, not enough for a car like this. Turning, bite, the Avons just don't have it in the wet. Not compared with all the other 4, and certainly not compared with the Firestone or the Hankook. So really it was a pretty definitive order in the wet for the mid-range UHP group. But before we start to talk about what it's like on the dry track that I'm on here now, here's a little word from our sponsor. At etyres.co.uk, they sell tyres. Lots and lots of tyres. Unlike us, however, they don't really care which ones win our group tests, because they sell all of them at the very best prices you'll find anywhere on the internet. So if you do want to buy any of the tyres that we feature in this test, do yourself a favour and check them out. etyres.co.uk. Right, back to the comparison test.
To the dry track it is.
What you normally find with tyres generally is that a tyre that works really well in the wet doesn't necessarily work that well in the dry, and vice versa. But in this case, the Firestones and the Hankooks once again work an absolute treat on the A35. The front end on this car feels absolutely delightful with the Firestones fitted. The Hankooks, the GT Radials and the Firestones feel very, very similar to a full-blown premium ultra high performance tyre, I think, on this car, on this track. They're that good, they're that sharp, they're that precise. Firestone just having the edge over the other two. And the GT radials, it's just a great tyre, it really is. This car does nothing unpredictable on the GT radials, and it does a lot that you'd really, really like. The front end doesn't feel just as pinned, just as sharp. We can't lean on it just as hard with the GT radials on as you can with the Hankooks or the Firestones, but it's still a very good tyre. The Yokos are kind of okay. They hang on pretty well in a constant radius corner like this, or like this, and they're not bad in a direction change. The car doesn't start to fall over itself, but it's not quite up there, the Yokohama, with the top three. It's kind of 5% off, not much more than that. And unfortunately, the one that disappoints again on the dry track is the Avon. The front is just not there on this tyre. The turn-in just isn't as sharp as it is on any of the other four tyres. The mid-corner grip is not there. It doesn't have the same snap and bite under brakes the Avon's on. The Avons are a little bit of a disappointment on this car, I have to say. I think, ultimately, you can do better.
It's a fascinating group of tyres, is this. Some of them, like the Hankook and the GT Radial, get quite close to replicating the performance of a full-blown premium ultra-high performance tyre, while others, such as the Avon, well, they're surprisingly wide of the mark. But in the end, it's the Firestone that makes the best all-round fist of things, with a consistently high level of performance across all disciplines. At the other end of the scale, the Yokohama beats the Avon easily enough, but is still well behind the Hankook and the GT Radial, both of which are excellent and, in the end, pretty much impossible to separate. Bottom line, 4 of these tyres are well worth a look if you want to save money but not lose too much performance beside a full-blown premium UHP tyre. And one of them, well, maybe not.
Thanks for watching this comparison test. Hope you enjoyed it. Stay safe and see you next time.